Hi, I'm here at the top of Tepozteco right now. I just I just hiked up. It's more than a little walk. It's really intense actually, but incredibly beautiful. And feels so peaceful to be out here with the birds, just enjoying the quiet sounds and having my own space. I don't even know how you guys are dealing with it who are in New York City in your apartments there, cooped up. I heard the weather is dreadful and very gloomy and depressing. So I'm just so impressed that you guys are keeping your head up above water and looking at the positive and getting through this, and just grateful for your health and all that you do have right now. It's really something that I look up to. And I've just read a statistic that almost half the population in the US is experiencing some form of mental health problems right now, whether it's depression, anxiety, any of those emotions. They're really tough and really painful, and I've been going through them myself. I think most of us have at least experienced a little bit of it this quarantine. It can be challenging, whether you're alone or with people. You have to learn to adapt to people, or if you're in isolation, it can be really challenging. Maybe you're desiring to be with more people and we can't right now. And luckily, we're not alone. The whole world is pretty much experiencing this right now. So I'm grateful that we have each other to connect with on this and to open up and share. And hopefully you have friends or family members you can open up to and tell them how you feel and what you're going through, because it can be challenging and tough, and anxiety and depression is not a joke. It's serious, and it can really affect us. And sometimes we don't even know that we're experiencing anxiety or depression. I, for one, was so anxious, and I didn't even know it because my baseline had become the new norm. And that's what happens. Our bodies just adapt. We're wonderful adapters. We can adapt to anything, but sometimes it takes a toll on our bodies. So for example, if our baseline is 0, but then, our lifestyle makes us go up to a 6 or a 7 of anxiety, after some time we start to think that that's the new baseline and that's the new 0, when in reality it's still affecting us and we're still releasing cortisol, and it's still having a negative effect on our body, on our gut, on pretty much every aspect of our life. So we may think that having a 9 or a 10 is our state of anxiety, but if we're at a constant state of 5 or 6, that's still really bad. So anyone who may not be aware of it, if you are sleeping poorly or getting a little irritated, feeling a little agitated or touchy or quick to respond, then you may be feeling some sense of anxiety. And I think it's really important. Something I've learned that I need to do is open up more to people. I can open up on the surface level, but getting really deep and actually opening up about my vulnerabilities, especially right now on my journey in Mexico, that's challenging. I'm having to face a lot of deep-rooted fears that I've never had to face before, and working through them is very powerful and very liberating, but it can be tough. And so if there's anything that you think is making you anxious, or you just feel a little bit anxious and you're not sure why, I would love to talk to you, or recommend that you talk to someone you trust, whether it's a family member or a friend, just anyone who would give you sound advice and let you know that you're not alone. I'm sure there's either they or they know someone who's probably also experiencing that as well, or something similar. We're all vulnerable in some way, and sometimes when we don't share that vulnerability, it just makes us feel like we're alone and isolated, and we have no one we can go to or talk to, and that can be even more draining and damaging. And yes, this pandemic is affecting us in many ways, and the economy, people are dying. It's so tragic, it's so terrifying. But we also need to acknowledge our own mental health, and if our thoughts are going down a negative road, then we really need to address them and make sure that they aren't taking over our lives. Maybe we lost our job, are getting paid half the amount, or we're scared that we're going to lose our job and we just don't really know what's going to happen in the future. Those are all very real feelings of anxiety. Like, anyone going through that would have some sense of anxiety. And I think that the longer we're in this quarantine and the longer we let that anxiety build, the worse and worse it's going to get. So it's really important to address them. And I would recommend reaching out to someone. I also got certified from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I focus on gut health, but gut health is not just about the food you put in your body, it's about your thoughts. And I find our thoughts incredibly fascinating. I think it's possibly even more important than the food we put in our body, at least as important. And I would love to work with anyone who wants to maybe change their outlook, their mindset, alleviate their anxiety, change their thought patterns that are maybe creating bad habits, or maybe they're afraid of something and so they keep putting things off and numbing out with social media or Netflix, instead of really going after things they want to and dealing with their anxiety. It's so important to deal with it, but it can be incredibly hard and challenging. So I would love to work with you if you're interested. You can go to my website and fill out a form. It's farahmoringa.com. That's FERAMORINGA.com. And you can submit a client submission form in order to do an introductory call and see if it'd be a good fit to work together. Because I think it's so important that we really address our mental health and take care of ourselves, because it's so easy to notice when other things are happening. Maybe, our financial situation, it's very clear cut and dry. We can look at the dollar amount in our bank account and know what's happening. Or if we're not exercising, we can notice ourselves getting weaker or maybe a little bit fluffier in some areas. But with our mental health, sometimes it's harder to identify what's happening. So it's incredibly important and powerful to address it. And if you're having any of those feelings whatsoever, please feel free to go to my website and check it out, or send me an email or find me on Instagram and let me know that you would like to have an introductory call and see if it's a good fit and possibly work together, and we will get you to all of those goals and desires that you have had on your mind for perhaps a long time, or maybe this quarantine had you come up with some new ideas you really want to target and focus on. So I would love to work with you and get you there.